we're continuing with quotes. The letter T from the Holy Grail of Wisdom, quotes by M.P. Rogers in alphabetical order. The first is Tacitus, the Roman historian. He was from the days of Nero to Vespasian emperors. And his attitude was that a bad emperor is better than a civil war. Ralph Waldo Emerson called Tacitus the wisest of historians. Tacitus said, "Men are more ready to repay an injury than a benefit, because gratitude is a burden and revenge a pleasure. If you want to know who controls you, then see who you are not allowed to criticize." Following the Emperor Nero's command, "Let the Christians be exterminated," the Christians became subjects of sport. They were covered in the hides of wild beasts and harried to death by dogs, or they were nailed to crosses and crucified, or they were set on fire. And when the day had waned, at night, Nero would burn the Christians as torches at night. Nero's torches. Okay, but the more he tortured the Christians, the more people saw how good they were, and everybody wanted to become Christian. And Christianity just took off in Rome. Tacitus continues, "Mental and moral excellence require peace and quietness. The more corrupt the state, the more numerous the laws. Men's minds, once unbalanced, are ready to believe anything." Yeah, that's what they say. When a person stops believing in God, it's not that they don't believe in anything. Now they believe anything else. They become hopelessly stupid. Look at people who believe in evolution as an explanation for origin of life or complexity, just based on dogma. There's nothing to support that at all. It's good for microevolution, not macroevolution. Next point by Tacitus. "Our greatest advantage in coping with the tribes, so powerful, is that they do not act in concert." Okay, this is the Roman strategy of divide and conquer. All the barbarian tribes and cities, keeping them all divided. Does that sound familiar? What do you hear always? Diversity is our strength. All the stupid frickin' proles. And what that really is, the billionaires laughing at the stupid, retarded proles who don't help each other. We're always fighting over some stupid thing. It's like, look at Christians, 2.3 billion of them, and they don't help each other. They're jealous of each other, and that's why they're being, made extinct. Okay, let's be honest. Tacitus continues, "Seldom is it that 2 or 3 states meet together to ward off a common danger. Thus, while they fight singly, all are conquered." Okay, that's Tacitus, the Roman historian. Now we're going to do Nassim Taleb. He's sort of a modern writer guy. Just a couple quotes by him. He says, "People focus on role models. It's more effective to find anti-models, people you don't want to resemble when you grow up." I, for example, had a friend who was a doctor, and he's a very good doctor, a real smart guy, but he was married to a lawyer, and she divorced him. She just cheated on him randomly because she was bored. He was working 2 jobs, trying to make more money to buy him a nicer house in a nicer neighborhood, despite the fact they already had a nice house in a good neighborhood. And she just randomly cheated on him. So they got divorced. He really got screwed over in divorce court. And after that, he had to work 6 days a week for the next, 24 years. He had to pay double alimony because he was working 2 jobs at the time when he got divorced. So he really had to pay a lot and got screwed bad. And so that's why I never took a moonlighting job. I was making plenty of money. I didn't want to make more and then potentially get divorced and be stuck paying double alimony. One time I was in the kitchen and I was reading, like a joke book or something. I read tons of books. And my wife walked by. This is, like 20 years ago. She goes, "Why are you reading a stupid joke book? Why don't you get a moonlighting job and go make some more money for this family?" I'm like, "Yeah, right. So you can divorce me. I got to pay double alimony. I think I'm going to enjoy my joke book. I like my days off." Okay, next quote by Nassim Taleb. He says, "The psychologist Gerzinger has a simple heuristic. Never ask the doctor what you should do. Ask them what he would do if he were in your place. You'd be surprised by the difference." And there's truth in that statement. If you ask a doctor, "What should I do?" the doctor is obligated to tell you the standard of care. The standard of care is whatever drug protocol has been agreed upon by the researchers at the big university where they're on the take from the drug company, okay? And he's obligated to say that to you. If you ask the doctor, on the other hand, what would you yourself do if this was you who was sick with this problem? If it was your father, your mother, your child, what would you do? And very often you'll see the doctor will do something totally different. And the reason is, and the better the doctor, the more likely it is something different. Like if somebody asked me for coronary artery disease, what should I do? I'll say, go see the cardiologist, okay? But if they ask me what would I do, I'd say, no. Eat a low-fat vegan diet, then that's 100% cure rate for coronary artery disease. Why bother with seeing the cardiologist? You're not going to get coronary artery disease if that's what the problem is. There could be other things going on. You could have valve disease, all this other stuff. But what I'm basically saying is, I always, as a doctor, want to fix all my problems myself if that's possible. Sometimes it's not possible. I had an eye infection. I had to go to the eye doctor to get an antibiotic, okay? But if I could fix it myself, that's always preferable to me. Like a stupid patient, if you tell them it's your fault, they're offended by that. You want it to be your fault. Then you can control it. Something that you made a mistake and you can control and change your behavior. That's a great deal. Taleb continues, intelligence consists in ignoring things that are irrelevant. Okay? One last person for this set of quotes, Talleyrand. Talleyrand was the French diplomat, and he actually was diplomat through several different regimes, including he was a diplomat with Napoleon. He sort of was a controller of Napoleon. He had a club foot, and he was sent to the church, the seminary when he was young, and he was real lonely, and he just read constantly for years, and he became very well educated, very wise in economics and in understanding different countries in Europe. And so he was a very valuable, even though Napoleon didn't like him. He called him one time SHIT in a silk stocking. He still found Talleyrand so valuable to have as one of his advisors. He lived from 1754 to 1838. A couple quotes. He said, God gave humans language so they could conceal their thoughts. The purpose of speech is to conceal our thoughts. That one book about him, I think it was called something like Napoleon's Ruler. I think the author's name was Laude. I thought it was really good. Talleyrand continues, a married man with a family will do anything for money. If you wish to get along in society, you must allow others to tell you things you already know. An important skill is to find new names for institutions, which under old names have become odious to the public. Yeah, they'll just change the name and still screw the people over in the same way. Or the other thing they'll do is keep the name the same as the old one, but then change what the institution does. Either way, the public gets screwed. Here's a good quote by Talleyrand. Society is divided into two classes, the fleecers and the fleeced. It is better to belong to the fleecers. You bet. But not many people get a chance to do that. Another quote by Talleyrand. Politics is a systemic cultivation of hatred. Yep. People are more motivated by what they hate than by what they love, unfortunately. So that's why, evil politicians can just cultivate everybody to do bad stuff, to gang up on the scapegoat, whatever that might be, which in the West, it's the Christian man. He's been picked because he's the one that promotes freedom the most. And big controllers don't want freedom. So they all gang up on him, say, he's the oppressor and everyone else is the victim. Let's all get together and stop this oppressor. Well, what's really happening is the billionaire wants to get rid of the Christian man because they know he's the obstacle to slavery. The women are not aware enough of what's going on to act in their own self-interest. Look all over Europe. Women vote for things that cause their destruction because they vote on an emotional whim. They don't think it through. Okay, then they wonder why there's a gang that beats them up and RAPEs them because they don't understand what they're doing. Okay, what happened in Europe is disaster. Look at Paris. Paris is burning right now. It's on fire. Okay, Talleyrand continues. It was worse than a crime. It was a mistake. Never speak ill of yourself. Your friends will always say enough on that subject. Okay, that's it for quotes today. Hope you found them helpful.